Hey there, I'm Dana Johnson, dental practice management expert, certified Dentrix trainer, and founder of Navoni, revolutionizing the dental industry through innovation and strategic leadership. It wasn't long ago that I lived in your shoes, navigating the daily challenges of managing a dental practice with the hopes and dreams of having a productive schedule, money in the bank, and getting home on time to my sweet daughter. After 25 years working in the dental practice and 17 years as a certified Dentrix trainer, I found my life's work, helping dental teams one-on-one, optimizing their systems and software. If you are looking to create the thriving dental practice you have always dreamed of and empower your high-performing dental team, you are in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome, everyone, to the High Performing Dental Team. And I am coming to you live from Cologne, Germany. And this is where they hold the International Dental Show Conference, IDS, in Cologne, Germany, every 2 years. And this is actually my fourth time being here. So it's a super fun conference. It's massive. And I actually had the honor of being an audience member in a panel yesterday that was being put on by Henry Schein. And one of the speakers, Mackenzie Richter, was the lead speaker, and she was talking. The whole presentation was about 3-click dentistry. And so I asked if I could interview her for my podcast. And so I have Mackenzie Richter. She is the vice president of Global Commercial Digital Workflow Solutions. That's a lot to say,
Yes.
but it sounds like a very impressive title. And I even have, I call myself a dental workflow expert, and you are a dental workflow expert. And so we speak each other's language. And so I am very thrilled to have you on our podcast today, Mackenzie. So welcome.
Thank you so much. What fun to be here. And we'll speak the same language,
I
which
know.
will be a great time.
We definitely do. And we even have the same hair color. And so we have a lot in common. Um, so yeah, yesterday when I was sitting in on your panel, you come from a dental family.
I do.
Yeah. And so is your brother the only person in your family that is a dentist, or do you have other dentists?
Oh, no.
Oh, you have a lifelong.
Less a pleasure for us, but a pain for our spouses.
Oh, okay.
So yes, yeah, I am the daughter of a dentist. I grew up working in a dental practice from the time I was 13 years old. Was handed a pair of scrubs and did anything that did not require a license. So that was my first entree into dentistry.
Yeah.
And then I got hooked in '01. My father invested in CEREC, so very early CAD/CAM technology.
Yes.
And I was sold. I just knew that this was something I wanted to be a part of because I knew how what we then called just technology, now we now call digital workflow, had the ability to transform a dental practice.
I think that's what happens. I think people kind of either fall into dentistry or they grow up with dentistry and they just learn to, they love it.
Right.
Like we change people's lives every day.
Truly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. I really do.
It is everyone's most feared appointment a couple of times a year, but for people that really understand how transformative it is for a patient,
Yeah.
it is it's incredible to be a part of it.
I know. I love this industry. And so you talked a little bit about your brother during the panel yesterday. And he had a flood in his practice. And but you also started talking to him a little bit more about like challenges that he was having in his practice with productivity and profitability and workflow and things like that. So expand on that a little bit.
Sure. I'll share the story for the listeners. So essentially what happened was towards the end of the year, he's got a handful of practices, but the primary practice, his biggest practice, did experience a flood. And it wiped them out, honestly, for a few weeks. And anyone who's involved in a practice knows that you need to be working the last few weeks of each calendar year. And they weren't able to do that. So as we were plating up Christmas dinner, I was asking him, how's it going? I was in the practice. One of my kids had some treatment done. And I said, I could still see a lot of evidence of flood, but it looks like everything's functional. And I said, how is the recovery going? And he said, honestly, it's been really, really difficult for us because to not have the ability for people to maximize their insurance benefits, we lost out on a lot of revenue. And he said, so financially, this has been one of our more challenging years. And he said to me, I know I've worked with Shine a long time, and I know that there's a lot of consultation you do with your customers on how to run more effective and profitable businesses. And he said, and I think, I need to have another one of those discussions here. And he said, who would I talk to? And I said, well, that's funny you should ask. I'm standing here. This is actually what I do.
Yeah.
Is really focus in on efficiency.
Mhm.
So, I asked him, I had two things that immediately came to mind just because of the role that I'm in and really understanding how we drive more profitability and efficiency, effectiveness for our dental teams. And I said, the first thing is, I said, I really need to understand where are you on your AI with radiography? And he said, well, certainly the science is there and it works. And, I know it's cool. And he said, but I have to be honest with you, all of my associates are really good diagnosticians. And I said, oh, okay, that's interesting. And I said, are you open to an alternative perspective? And he said, kind of begrudgingly, yeah, okay, I'll listen to you. And I said, it's great that your associates know how to diagnose, and you should. You have to, right? You have to be able to look at a radiograph and understand what needs to be done. So I said, could it be possible that AI is actually for the patient so that they can receive an unbiased confirmation that your treatment plan is actually necessary? And he went, ah, I got it. And we actually have some really great statistics that back that up because we know that when, a dental team integrates AI, there's a significant increase in treatment acceptance. So much so that we're seeing somewhere around 125 to 135,000 increase per year per practice.
Wow.
And I thought that's number one. That's easy,
Yeah.
right? You're just simply giving the patient a better pathway to say yes to treatment. Then we moved on a little bit, and I said, you bought a few printers from us a few years ago, and I said, are you doing night guards on your printers? And he kind of he chuckled,
Yeah.
and he said, no, honestly, we're not. And I said, okay, well, I think I know why, but I want to hear from you because I don't want to make any assumptions. And he said, well, my son, who's in dental school, he said he comes in and he interns in the summer. And so when he's in the office, we use those printers. We keep them moving. He said, but when he's not there, he said, honestly, dental software is really tough. He said, I have to go between 2, 3, 4, 5 platforms just to print a night guard. And he said, to be honest with you, I'm too busy. My team is too busy. We're going to send it out because it's easier for us. And I said, yeah, I understand that. And I've heard that. And I said, actually, that's what I'm working on. And Shine is the simplification of digital workflow so that you can use what you either purchase or what you want to purchase in a way that works for you in the practice.
100%. I feel like there's still that that pushback because there's so many steps. Like there's so many steps to do a lot of things.
That's right.
Not just digital impression to night guard, but there's steps with everything. And
right.
and I feel like our teams are just struggling because they don't have the time or they're short staffed. They don't have the time to do it. And so they look for other ways or they go backwards to their old way,
Right.
because they go, well, that's how I know. I know how to do it that way. So I'm just going to go backwards.
No question. Well, and then you put on top of that staff retention.
Yes.
This is a huge concern in every practice. So you have turnover. Someone comes in and they've got to learn everything from scratch that you just spent all the time investing in that person that's recently left. So again, we've got to have more predictable workflows so that we have predictable outcomes in a way that people can accept and be enthusiastic about offering.
For sure. So we know the challenges are number of steps or the amount of time, right, and effort it takes to get something from impression to production. So you talk a lot about the 3-click dentistry. That's what we heard yesterday during the panel. So tell us some more about what this 3-click dentistry is going to help us with.
Right. So when I think about 3-click dentistry, that's a little bit of a marketing angle, right, to what we're trying to do, which is less steps, less software platforms, and again, of course, fewer clicks. But what we're seeking to do is to create workflows that are brand agnostic, meaning you can use any brand of technology, whether you buy it from Henry Schein, whether you buy it from somewhere else, but that it will be initiated within the practice management software. That's where our customers live all day long. Our dental teams, our dentists, they're in that platform. And oftentimes we find that, again, they have to go, to a scanning software, to a planning software, to maybe a CAD software, and then back to practice management. And it's laborious. So what we're seeking to do with this initiative is to really say, open up practice management software, and no matter where you want to go, we can push you there through practice management, so that you're not having to uh, put the patient's details in to three or four or five times to each software platform, because inevitably you're going to get that wrong, right? You're going to have
Human error.
It's inevitable. And you're going to have a huge time savings, right? Because just that administrative entering of patient details is going to take someone 7, 8, 9 minutes to do between all the platforms. Time is money.
Of course.
So we've got to simplify.
Of course. And I love what you said about that everything's initiated out of the PMS, the
Right.
practice management
Right.
software. So most of my audience are Dentrix users and or Henry Schein one type of customer. And we live in the software. We live in the practice management software every day.
That's right.
And that's where we spend all of our time. And so when we have to leave and go out to this platform and log in, I mean, passwords are the bane of our existence.
Isn't that the truth?
I know. So we have to go to this platform and log in, and then we have to go to another platform and log in.
Right.
I mean, all of that just consumes our day. So I love what you're doing with, if we could just stay inside of the PMS
Right.
all day and do everything we need to do, that would simplify everything.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
It certainly does. And then not only that, but sometimes a patient comes back and we go, we've got to find that one image from that one time
That's true.
that we took that one image. And so what's really, really cool about this is our team has had a ton of foresight. Years ago, they started building an imaging platform that, again, was brand agnostic, where it could store everything from 2D images, intraoral images, you name it, right? Sensors, traditional films. And so we built this incredible repository for our imaging platform. And now what we're doing is we're adding intraoral scanning on top of that.
Yes.
And so now you've got all of that patient record in one place, in one screen, where you can go at any point and you've got your patient record.
Yeah.
So it may sound simplistic, but it's really difficult to do and to do well.
Agree. Because those scanning and 3D images are huge files.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a development, challenge because of how big the files are. But having them in one place simplifies the project.
Without a doubt.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Did you know that you could increase your team's productivity by up to 200% if you had a formal team training program in place? And businesses that do have a formal team training program in place also enjoy up to a 24% increase in profit margin. If you want to learn how and book a call with me, click on the show notes and book a free discovery call with me, and we will talk all about it.
At the time of this recording, and what I heard at the panel yesterday is that you are launching with Dentsply Sirona in a couple weeks. So by the time you are all hearing this, you have launched with Dentsply Sirona.
Right.
And so tell me a little bit about what does that workflow look like, and what are you seeing?
Yeah. So we're excited about this. And we actually have some really great integration with Mecca, with Medit. Dentsply Sirona is our next big one. We've got some future plans as well. But what this enables the user to do is to directly launch intraoral scanner software. It will upload patient detail and information, and then from there, we're able to go directly to scanning. So it just pushes us into DS software that you can do whatever it is that you want to do. And then there's bi-directional file sharing. Now, what does that mean? That means that we're getting that STL file back without having to re-upload it into the practice management. It will automatically just attach to that patient's chart. And then again, we were talking about the imaging software, being able to see everything in one place. That allows us to do that because we're sharing that file in a bi-directional way.
Oh, great.
So a lot of simplification, less margin for error. And again, as you're going then to, go through your RCM process, everything's in the right place. You can find it. You're not looking in different softwares. It's all done.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the most important things that I talk about is consistent documentation. Like, where are we going to find information? Because if one team member is putting it in one place and another team member is putting it in another place, or if one team member accidentally misspells the last name or puts the last name in the first name spot, and then you could be hunting for information.
That's right.
For hours.
Yes.
And so I love the idea that it's just all in one place.
And easy. It makes it so much easier. So we're really excited to be able to launch this for the benefit of our customers.
Yeah, I love that. And then what we heard about today with the FDI project and just the ability of easier sharing of information, because if all of our information is in one place, we can share it out with other providers at a lot easier. So that's going to be a huge benefit for the practices.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. And so you said a couple times about that the software is agnostic.
Yes.
Like you could use it with any platform.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about that. So if there's
Sure.
somebody listening and they're using a different type of software.
Right. So if you think about it this way, oftentimes when you're considering what technologies and what brands you want to bring into your practice, you're rarely looking at technology as a whole. How does this holistically all work together? You're thinking, I need a sensor.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go buy X brand of sensor. And I need cone beam. Boy, I really like the functionality of this cone beam and this software. So you buy that. And it may be a different brand than your sensor. And then, of course, you add in, maybe you also need some planning software. Maybe you also are buying an intraoral scanner. And suddenly you have completely disparate systems that were never intended to work together.
Right.
So then what do? You have to, again, like we were talking about, you have to download, upload, share files. And it's difficult and it takes time. And most of our customers simply will not do that. So then they use each solution as a standalone solution, but not as a holistic, all encompassing solution. So what we're doing is the same thing that we did with our imaging platform, which was we said, we're going to make this compatible with every single brand that's out there so that we can easily reference these images, that they all plug directly into practice management, and there's no challenge. So we're doing the exact same thing right now with scanners. And again, it'll be, we already have great integration, better integration than any other practice management has with scanners. But it is that bi-directional file sharing that's the important piece.
Yeah.
Because that's what really kind of completes the circle. So that's the first thing. Some of the things as we're looking out at the future that we're looking to do as well as offer, AI design for restorative work that would be done again within the same platform. If you want to do in-house fabrication, no problem. That will also be integrated into the platform. If you want to send it out to your laboratory, no problem. We've got that avenue through DDX as well, through practice management. So we really want to make sure that it's as easy as possible for you just to plug any brand in and say, we know it'll work.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much about that. So anything else that you would like to share with our audience about, what's coming up? And
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. We have incredible partners in the industry. There are so many innovators that are just absolutely fantastic. And it makes it my job really, really hard to prioritize where we're going to develop next because I have to say, I mean, I am blown away by the capabilities that are available today. Again, I shared that in 01, my father bought a CEREC and oh my gosh, it was incredible then.
Yes.
But now, right, when you look at the difference over, essentially 25 years of innovation, it's incredible.
It is.
So what we're doing is we're trying to look at the procedures within a practice that are going to drive better revenue, right, in a simple way. So one of the things that, I personally am a huge fan of are night guards. I have since COVID, when I started getting a little stressed and I had some kids at home, I was trying to keep the wheels on the bus for work. I was finding that I was probably grinding a little bit more than I would have liked. I was getting a little more wear on my teeth. And so I personally started wearing a night guard and I went, this is a game changer for me. And then as I was talking to other, practitioners, other patients, I would, ask, do you offer night guards? Do you have a night guard if you're a patient? And I was hearing a lot of, no, we really don't. And I started asking why.
Yeah.
Is it because you don't think it's the best thing for the patient? And the answer was never no. It was always, well, it's just not really what we offer. It's not, it's not that easy to do. And so I've been thinking for a few years, how do we make this accessible and easy for a customer? So I'm really excited. We are going to be launching a digital workflow with our partner SprintRay, where essentially what we'll be able to do is go into practice management, have the scan, and then directly through Dentrix, send that scan off to a site called nightguard.com. where they will print for you 1 or 2 night guards, send it directly back to you within a couple of days. And it's the easiest process. That's our next iteration of where we want to go. And of course, we're going to get to fabrication as well. But to just eliminate any friction on the front end, again, it's open practice management, put the patient detail in, take a scan and send.
Yeah,
That's it.
put the patient information in one time.
One time.
Yeah.
One time.
And it probably not only does it reduce the steps with the practice,
Right.
but it may even reduce the cost for the patient.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's so many, creative ways that our dental community can give patients the treatment they really need. Right. So if you've got a crown, you need a night guard. These are things that you got to protect the investment that you've made in your oral health. So I think it hopefully will allow, our dental customers to put that front and center and say, this is the right thing for you to do. It's going to be healthier for the long-term health of your teeth. And by the way, it's a great profit center for a dental practice.
Well, it's so easy to do same day dentistry. I mean, night guards are so easy to do same day.
That's
You know,
right.
you can look at your schedule and you can say, okay, these 4 patients,
Right.
5 patients have night guards on their treatment plan. They haven't moved forward. So can we do those today?
Absolutely. And if we're scanning every patient at every appointment, which is where we're
Becoming
standard of care, we're getting close to that being standard of care.
Mhm.
Then imagine this, that maybe that patient calls you a month after their last hygiene appointment, but you know what, I actually am ready to do that. No problem. Go into the patient file, send it directly, and off it comes right back to you. You don't even have to have the patient come in.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Sometimes it's just timing.
100%.
Yeah.
Right.
They're waiting for their, IRS refund check or
That's right.
Right. Timing is everything when it comes to treatment case acceptance.
Right.
Because they maybe they weren't ready 6 months ago, but maybe they'll be ready today.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just love this industry.
It's so awesome.
I know. It just keeps moving forward. We keep offering better care, more efficiencies to our teams.
Right.
I just love it. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. This has been amazing. I just love hearing about all the new innovation, and I love that I actually get to be a part of it. Because I'm in the Henry Schein family.
That's right.
I get to help, maybe even help. I was talking to Dr. Ryan Hungate earlier, and hopefully I'll be able to help with the software development. Just by able to give some insights to that. So
We'll take it all day long.
I know I'm super excited. And so it's really great to meet you. Thank you for all your expertise and for driving this 3-click dentistry innovation going. And I look forward to the future.
Thank you, as do I. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Well, my friends, it has been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you for spending about 20 minutes of your day with me. And I look forward to watching your journey of becoming a high performing dental team.